If you didn't like the new Joker movie, I've got bad news for you. You suck. Before you click off this video, I don't hate you. It's not a personal attack. It wasn't me, I didn't make this movie, but you suck. And let me explain how. Obviously, before I'd watched this movie, I'd heard all the bad reviews, everything the critics said, everyone online, people on Reddit, everyone was slating this movie from the very first instant. Kinda hesitant to go and watch it, but hey, it was a day out. So me and the missus decided that we had to go and see it. What if we liked it? I wanted to like it. The first one was so good. So I went into the cinema willing myself to like it. I was hoping that I would like it. I had all negative thoughts out of my mind. I was excited to watch a nice musical about a murderous clown with psychological problems. I was all up for enjoying it. I couldn't give a fuck if everyone else hates this movie. I was really ready to enjoy this movie. And for a while, I actually did enjoy the movie. It starts off a bit strange with a Looney Tunes style cartoon, slapstick comedy. And as soon as that came on the screen, the very first moment, my heart just went, ugh. Already disappointed. I was like, no, don't be this shit, please. But after a while, I started to enjoy it. I liked the musical Disassociation from Arthur, and they had some good music. And it's a very beautiful movie. And it did have a sense of building up to something. I actually felt a little bit inspired sometimes by Arthur's musical Disassociation. And I wanted to sometimes stand up and sing and like, yeah, fuck you, society rules, can do what I want. But I couldn't get over that mental hurdle. And I guess as a British man living in Japan, I cannot be openly honest like that. I wish I was crazy, but I'm not. They have a saying in Japan, the nail that sticks out gets hammered down. And they don't mean this kind of nail. It means how it's hard to be different. Any deviance is met with resistance. But the movie was alright. It was going along at a steady pace. I didn't even mind Lady Gaga. She's alright. She's alright. She's obviously a good singer and her acting was pretty good. But the character of Harley that she played, it wasn't the unhinged Harley Quinn. But it was okay because you could see the potential. You could see that this is the origin story of Harley. This is where it starts, and we expected it to get worse and to progress. She's only Harley. She's not Harley Quinn yet. Just as Arthur is just Arthur. He's not the Joker yet. The movie slowed down a bit towards the end when they started to go through the trial. They regurgitated a lot of information and scenes from the first movie. But we started to see glimpses of the Joker that we wanted to see in Arthur's imagination. For example, seeing him smash the judge's head in, him escaping through the blown out wall after an explosion. But after every rise in hope that we had, came the fall. It quickly brought us back down to earth every time. And when he was finally going to embrace the other person inside of him, as the lawyer and the psychiatrist like to put it, when we finally thought the Joker was going to come out, he told the judge, there is no Joker. I'm Arthur Fleck. All momentum gone. This was 2 hours into the movie. Arthur's admission was a shock, but not as much of a shock as the final abrupt ending to the movie. After destroying the character of the Joker and being found guilty of cold-blooded murder as Arthur Fleck and being rejected by Harley, who doesn't want Arthur Fleck. She wants the Joker. Arthur goes back to prison. And while he's there, he gets told that he has a visitor. And as he follows the guard down the lonely corridor, the guard disappears around the corner. We hear a voice behind him, and it's one of his psychotic inmates, who proceeds to tell him a joke.
Can I tell you a joke I came up with? I can make it quick. So, a psychopath walks into a bar and sees this famous clown sitting there all alone. Totally drunk. It's pathetic. I can't believe you're here, he says. What a disappointment. I used to watch you on TV. What can I get you? And this clown turns and he says, well, if you're buying, you can get me anything. Perfect, the psychopath says. How about I get you what you fucking deserve?
Then this inmate proceeds to stab Arthur viciously in the stomach multiple times over and over again. And Arthur slumps to the floor, blood pouring from his stomach, and we see the light fade from his eyes as the blurred background behind him shows the inmate cutting himself ear to ear, maniacally laughing in Heath Ledger-esque fashion. And it's revealed to us that Arthur Fleck is not the Joker. Arthur Fleck is just the inspiration for the Joker. But that's it. That's where the movie ends. I, like everyone else in the cinema, was sitting in stunned silence. And it came out of nowhere in the movie, just suddenly end. Everyone was watching the credits confused. I looked around, I could see people, blank expressions on their face, some disappointed, some confused, some trying to figure out what just happened. My initial reaction was, what the fuck was that? That sucked. I hated the whole thing. But after a few days of stewing it over and thinking about the movie and looking online, I realized I was disappointed because I wanted a movie about the Joker. I wanted a movie about revenge and violence and taking it to the elite and the plucky loser getting that break in life for once. And Arthur Fleck is weak. And despite how the first movie built him up to be this grandiose Joker character that we wanted, he's just Arthur Fleck. He's a loser. He sucks, he's weak. Arthur was abused as a kid by a mother who doesn't love him. Everyone he ever got close to and opened up about found out that they hated him or they were disgusted by him or they wanted something from him. Even people that tried to help him, they didn't really do it for him. They did it for their own gain. The only person I can think of who actually liked Arthur, who actually treated Arthur as a human, was Gary Puddles. And he saw through the Joker. He didn't want to speak to the Joker. He called him Arthur. And he begged Arthur to stop this Joker character. And he said that Arthur was the only person who was ever kind to him. Well, maybe not kind, but he was the only person who never took the piss out of him. He was the only person who didn't play pranks on him. Mr. Puddles aside, nobody cared about Arthur. Harley, she just wanted to start a movement. She wanted a leader. His lawyer, she wanted the shirt sales and fame. The psychiatrist wanted to put this idea of multiple personality into his head so she can be the one who claimed she's found this incredible new mental illness and take all the fame and money from that. Similar to the Sybil controversy, multiple personality, how much of it is they've actually got these separate people in their brain, or is it more that these vulnerable, abused victims are having the idea put into their brain that they have multiple personalities inside them who are causing these problems? The guard, he just wanted to get closer to the lawyer, join the singing class, and have more power in the prison. The inmates wanted the Joker to motivate them to riot and rise and fight against the guards. Harvey Dent just wanted to win the trial of the century by convincing everyone that Arthur Dent is the Joker. And then we have you, the audience. You wanted the second movie to be about the Joker, but you got Arthur Fleck instead. How disappointed you must be. In the first movie, we relate. Our problems and struggles that we go through are represented through Arthur, and his transition to the Joker gives us hope. We finally have a voice that represents that pain and struggle that everyone goes through when they're up against it. That's why people loved it. But the second movie is a slap in the face to that, and it showed us if we want the Joker, then we have to be prepared to kill Arthur Fleck. Kind of like some of the problems faced at the beginning of this for Raskolnikov.
I could kill that damned old woman and make off with her money, I assure you. Without the faintest conscience prick. The officer laughed again, while Raskolnikov shuddered. I want to ask you a serious question. I was joking, of course. But look here. On one side, we have a stupid, senseless, worthless, spiteful, ailing, horrid old woman. Not simply useless, but doing actual mischief. Who has not an idea what she is living for herself, and how he'll die in a day or two, you understand?
Yes, I understand.
Well, listen then. On the other side, fresh young lives thrown away for want of help. And by thousands, on every side, 100,000 good deeds could be done, and helped on that old woman's money, which will be buried in a monastery. Hundreds, thousands perhaps, might be set on the right path. Dozens of families saved from destitution, from ruin, from vice, from the lock hospitals, and all with her money. Kill her, take her money, and with the help of it devote oneself to the service of humanity and the good of all.
Of course she does not deserve to live. But there it is, it's nature.
I have another question to ask you. Would you kill the old woman yourself?
Of course not. I was only arguing the justice of it. It's nothing to do with me.
If you're not prepared to personally kill for what you think is justice, then you have no right to ask someone else to do it. And if you want the Joker, then you personally have to be ready to kill Arthur Fleck. This pathetic, abused, not completely innocent man has to be murdered for us to get the justice that we want. It tells us to reflect on ourselves. It tells us even though we think we're the victim and that our actions are justified, We have to think who is suffering because of our actions, and is it worth it? Are we prepared to do that? The Joker doesn't help Arthur. It doesn't solve his problems. The Joker creates more problems for Arthur. The Joker is there for us. We want the Joker, and it makes us happy. If people had just listened to Arthur and treated him fairly, without selfish reasons for doing so, then he would still be alive. If we had true compassion for Arthur, he would still be alive. But everyone wants him to be the Joker. I wanted him to be the Joker, that's why I went to the movie. If we sacrifice the weak to destroy the strong, then that makes us no different to the regime that we're trying to get rid of. Nothing changes, and the cycle just continues with a different face. Trail of innocent victims left behind. That's what I think was the idea for the directors. They want to bring us back down to earth. They want us to know that we're the problem. We suck. We suck. We might not like it, but it's kind of true. Even if you think you're doing the right thing for the right cause, it won't change anything for the better. Suffering still goes on. We all sought after the Joker because we thought it would help our misery and our pain, but really it just creates more misery and more pain for other people. That's just the way it is. I guess it is best summed up not by a Joker, but by a comedian.
It's a joke. It's all a joke.
That being said, thank you for watching. You guys are alright. I don't think you suck. And whether it's unexpected, depressing, and horrible movies at the cinema, or spending time with loved ones on a day out, remember, there's always something to smile about. I told one of my mates that I wasn't going to make a video about the Joker because I hated it, and it was a waste of time. But after thinking about it for a few days, I decided I would make this because I know my opinion would piss him off. So, this one's for you, Scruffy.